Chapter 431. The Jared in this world was different from the original spacetime. All the anger from the previous human experiments had been wiped out. He had seen a lot, and now he didn't hate or love human beings. The Earthlings were just ordinary members of the universe. Nothing more. Thea analyzed that when this guy had spiritual intelligence, he was probably in the state of a teenager. After various kinds of torture, he naturally had the idea that the sky couldn't cover his eyes and the earth couldn't block his heart. If he had continued to develop, he would have been a villain. But now, he had broadened his horizons and was treated like a god by the aliens on this planet. Jared's temperament had changed. It was like a child who didn't hold a grudge when fighting, but if you beat him every day, he would hate you for the rest of his life. Grud was in such a situation. He was severely beaten up by the Earthlings. At a critical crossroad, he was interrupted by the young lady. He vented his resentment, and now, the trauma in his heart had been healed by the aliens as if they were his ancestors. "Hey!" The gorilla passed an intimate signal to Carla and stretched out his big hand to shake her hand. "Oh, she seems to be able to talk to me?" Carla seemed to have discovered a new world and held Jared's hand tightly. If it was an Earthling girl, she would have fainted. But Carla didn't have this problem. The Kryptonian genes made her look simple, but nothing could scare her. Carla laughed and played with Jared. The gorilla had been eating and sleeping since he left the Earth. The people he came in contact with were either serious people like Fiora or aliens who trembled like noodles when they saw him. Except for Thea, who occasionally teased him, no one played with him for a long time. Now he met an old lowly like Carla. Although he was not very mature mentally, he actually had a good time with this little Supergirl. At first, it still had some resentment towards the Earthlings, but when Kara lifted it up high, it realized that the little girl was definitely not an Earthling. The human and the gorilla, you throw me up, I throw you up, and I throw you up, playing very happily. Thea originally wanted to return to Earth, but seeing that they were having a good time, she was not in a hurry to leave. Grud no longer had a ruthless personality, and his personality was developing rapidly in the direction of humor. His strength was a little lower than his original time and space. For this, Thea was happy to see it happen. The dark side was 5 times stronger, and the white side was 3 times weaker. She had already mentally prepared for this. The 3 of them held down the prisoner and only returned to Earth when it was dark. Fiora once again urged Kara to go to the committee to look for her when he had time. She didn't want him to be invincible, but at the very least, he needed to receive some professional training from Krypton. Kara nodded her head like a chick pecking at rice. She hurriedly broke up with them and flew home. Fiora led the prisoner back to Fortress Ross. The prisoner will be the first tenant of the fortress after it is reopened. As an opening gift, Fiora rearranged him back to his former room. Thea returned to the office alone. The originally empty room became blurry in her eyes. She took a closer look and was amused. "Uncle Rong-en? What a rare guest." As her voice fell, the invisible Martian hunter came out. In less than 1/10 of a second, he completed the whole process of camouflage. Thea only saw his green skin flash in a hurry, and then he changed into his usual Supernatural Investigation Bureau Director disguise. "Where did you take Carla?" Where? Let me think. According to our language, it should be called Sputnik Star. It is in the 1109 sector of the Western Universe. Thea thought about it seriously before answering. Looking at the Martian hunter's eyes, she explained, "Kara's fighting ability is too poor. You also know Fiora. She is going to train Kara. She doesn't expect him to be very powerful, but at least he can protect himself. Kara's ability is enough to protect himself." The Martian hunter's father, Boda, came out suddenly. He regarded all the beautiful and lovely girls as his own daughters, and the Danvers sisters were the most important among them. Thea curled her lips and transmitted some images to him through her mind, all of which were the appearance of Kara being pressed on the ground and beaten up. "Look at these, he can't even use 1/10 of his own ability. How can he protect himself? What's there to protect?" The Martian hunter looked at the images and was a little speechless. To be honest, the alien that Kara dealt with was a piece of trash in his and Superman's eyes. An enemy of this level almost killed Kara. This Kryptonian girl's combat ability was a little weak. Sia laid out the facts and reason, and quickly sent this overly worried guy out of the office. Pay attention to the balance between work and rest. Train reasonably. Don't rush. Even after the Martian hunter left, he was still giving instructions through telepathy. Thea had no choice but to agree. After sending the Martian hunter away, Kara kept her promise and went to receive Fiora's training every few days. Superman and the Martian hunter secretly peeped at her, but they were both chased out by Fiora, who also had X-ray vision. The matter of the magic world was like a drop of water falling into the sea, without any trace. The cold flame Vatican's control around the world had shrunk, and a large number of subordinates were called back to the headquarters to prepare for possible enemies. On the second day after Constantine entered the Shadow Labyrinth, he ran out with Zatanna. These two guys were more than a day earlier than Thea expected. After escaping, Zatanna directly teleported away, while Zakong directly went to find Daddy Midnight. The two of them had a friendly conversation, and in the end, Constantine was thrown out by a group of gangsters with broken arms. The citizens did not know that a small-scale battle had taken place in a world that they did not understand. They did not know that a few extraordinary mages had died. The magic world that had been suppressed by the Cold Flame Vatican for a long time was jittery, and all kinds of rumors spread in a small area. Someone wanted to clear out the magic world, and the Cold Flame Vatican was the first to do so. Cold Flame Vatican wanted to lead the way, and if you don't want to die, hurry up and accept the offer. During this period of time, the major organizations received a lot of strange people who wanted to join them. These people were at most at the level of a magic caster, and they lived a tight life. Naturally, their real identities were not as good as they wanted to be. News of a plumber joining the FBI, and a street artist going to the CIA for an interview spread. Most of the mediocre people were dismissed, but a few elites stayed. For example, the Heaven's Eye Society recruited a person with superpowers who volunteered to join them. Dr. Mist, a black man with magic circles all over his body that could reflect all magic attacks. This South African doctor abandoned medicine because of his wife's death. Unfortunately, he did not have the talent, so he could only use a secret technique to transform his body, and forcefully practice the magic version of giving someone a taste of their own medicine. Chatter Santana, who was once heavily injured by Thea, had fully recovered. Amanda ordered him to use his own devil's fire to attack Dr. Mist, and the result was very satisfying. The devil's fire was reflected back at him. Several test results showed that this person did not have any attack power, but was almost perfect in reflecting all kinds of energy. Amanda was so happy that her back teeth were showing. If it were not for the fact that the Heaven's Eye Society's existence could not be known to the outside world, she would have gone to Times Square to raise a flag and recruit people. Chapter 432. Thea could only find it ridiculous that Dr. Mist relied on the array to reflect magic. Everything had a limit, and Dr. Mist's body was the limit. When the energy exceeded the sum of his physical and mental energy, his array would happily collapse and take him to heaven or hell for a vacation. In order not to appear special, the Alien Supervisory Committee also recruited a few idlers who had been frightened by the turmoil in the magic world. Regardless of whether they were good or bad, they were stuffed into the Black Man's army to receive re-education. Time slowly passed. The four-man team of Star City was fighting against the gangs led by the Brick Wall, and Batman was training the third-generation Robin. As the center of the maelstrom, the metropolis naturally wouldn't be peaceful. Sia came to attend a court hearing while rubbing her forehead. She was surrounded by dozens of bodyguards in black, and there was a large circle of reporters at the outermost circle, asking questions with all kinds of cameras in their hands. Her Quinn Merlin Group's headquarters had been established a month ago, and with her own high prestige, the group's affairs were carried out very smoothly. But today, a month later, discordant voices finally came out. Speaking of which, she was also an undeserved disaster. As the hero who saved the metropolis, she had a 3-meter-high bronze statue in the city center square to commemorate her saving tens of millions of citizens. The Superman statue in the original space-time was directly flapped away by her big wings. First, the young lady was very happy. While no one was paying attention, she secretly drew a small array at the bottom of the bronze statue. This was the mark of the moon goddess. As her only chosen, Thea could continuously absorb faith through this small array and transform it into mana. In a city with millions of people, even if everyone was a pan-believer, the accumulation of faith was still a terrifying number. The young lady was happy for a few days, but then bad luck automatically jumped out. 3 guys who were injured either in the battle with Zod or in the Glass Dome incident ran under her statue at the same time and committed suicide. The reason for their suicide was so fake that it made people's hair stand on end. The 3 left behind a suicide note saying that Thea, as the Metropolis hero, didn't help them no matter how hard their lives were. If that was all there was to the will, even an ignorant person would find it funny. If it wasn't your biological parents, who would care if you died? However, when the 3 of them committed suicide, they also revealed the existence of the Extraterrestrial Management Committee. They listed a lot of data showing how Thea, as the chairman, treated the extraterrestrials well. It created an image for the masses of onlookers that they were harsh to Earthlings and generous to aliens. Other than the citizens of the metropolis who came into contact with Superman every day, humans all over the world still did not believe in the existence of aliens. However, under the influence of some people with ulterior motives, this group of people also joined the army of skeptics. This level of gossip couldn't even be considered slander. For those politicians, if they didn't receive insults in their mailboxes every day, it meant that they were about to step down. However, these rumors were really disgusting. The statues that collected faith were destroyed by vengeful spirits, and a bunch of people were watching them 24/7. Thea didn't even have a chance to purify them. Toads stomp on the ground. They don't bite people. They are disgusting. This was Thea's inner monologue. Dr. Quinn, do you have any response to the alien incident? Dr. Quinn, our readers would like to know that this committee costs the world's taxpayers $35 billion a year to settle aliens. Is this news true? Relying on his size, Clark Kent, who disguised himself as a human reporter, also came to Thea with the cameraman Jimmy. Seeing that he also raised the microphone and wanted to ask something, Thea glared at him. What are you pretending for? Did you come here to watch the show? If you dare to ask, I'll beat you up even if I have to use all my equipment. In the original space-time, she remembered that a guy with a broken leg climbed onto Superman's statue and sprayed paint. Now that it was on her head, it directly escalated to suicide, and 3 people died at once. Needless to say, the biggest suspect who wanted to deal with her was still Lex Luthor. She didn't know what was wrong with him. Didn't he want to have a love-hate relationship with Superman? She didn't need to die. Superman, who didn't know that Thea had taken the blame for him, also felt that this matter was ridiculous. The 2 of them were now familiar with each other with the help of Kara, Batman, and a bunch of other people. It was quite strange to pretend that they didn't know each other in public and want to interview her. His footsteps paused a little, and he smiled bitterly as he watched her walk past him. The hearing was a situation. Everyone went through the situation in a lively manner. Thea didn't say a word during the whole process. She really didn't need to explain to these people. The Quinn Group hired hundreds of lawyers, and half of them came today. Those who didn't know would think that this was a lawyers' association. Wasn't it just a waste of time to engage in a battle of words? The lawyers took turns to speak, picking words one by one. When it came to talking about aliens, they didn't know anything. After talking nonsense with this group of people for the whole afternoon, Thea returned home and ordered her various covert subordinates to investigate several major domestic consortiums, several multinational corporations, and even Wayne Enterprises. Thea must know who the other party was. When the information from all parties was summarized, Thea was a little surprised. Project Cadmus? The one who sent the information was Poison Ivy. Her charm was unparalleled in the world. No matter how harsh the training was, it was useless. She and Death Knell consecutively tied up 11 scientists who dealt with the Luthor Group and finally got the name. Yes, boss, but the scientist only knows the name. He doesn't know the details. Thank you for your hard work. Stop the follow-up. After Poison Ivy left, Thea repeatedly compared it to her memory. She knew a little about Project Cadmus. It was a huge scientific research project that Luthor secretly built with his financial resources. Cadmus was a hero of ancient Greece. According to the legend, He was the one who introduced the Phoenician alphabet to Greece. Luther named his project with a very clear meaning. He wants to be a hero and bring alien things or technology to Earth. But the technology is not so easy to get. Who gave him the confidence to start such a project that costs tens of billions of dollars? Thea, who is also doing this work, has the most right to speak. Her cheating has broken through the sky. Various governments pay for it, and a large number of scientific research results of the Red House. Now, only a few small projects such as exoskeletons and laser guns have made breakthroughs. But Luther's plan is not small. He wants to lead the Earthlings to complete their self-evolution and catch up with or even surpass the level of the Kryptonians. From the point of view of the Earthlings, he is a well-deserved hero. Who is helping him? Thea suddenly thought of a person, the Kryptonian adjutant who escaped from Ross's fortress. Norn. This guy has been looking for a long time and disappeared like the ground. He won't be involved with Luther, right?